thank you all for joining us. And Melanie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Lisa. Well, I want to add my welcome to Lisa's welcome, and I'm going to pause for a minute because she's going to mute everybody. I will unmute myself. So thank you so much for being here, for your connection with Dementia Alliance, your support of Dementia Alliance. I do want to encourage you, if you don't mind, if you're not uncomfortable, just let me see your face. So, you know, there's down at the bottom, you can push start video and I can see your face, or up at the top, there's a share video and I can see your face. I love talking to people instead of rectangles. So if you don't mind doing that, I'm grateful. But if you can't, or if you prefer not, it's fine. But if you don't have a strong preference, I would love to see your wonderful faces. And it also helps me see, are people smiling or are people grimacing? Is it making sense? Is it not what you need? It just helps me to kind of adjust. So we're talking about bathing, and the reality is, oh, I could probably do a whole week on bathing, and I'm going to keep this to the hour, because if there are 25 people on this call and you're all involved with at least one person living with dementia, there are 25 different situations that involve challenges with bathing. So we're going to talk about some common kinds of themes and approaches, and then we're going to have some time at the end for some questions. And you can also reach out to Dementia Alliance if you need some additional follow-up, if you have some things later on. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And again, you can kind of make yourself so you can see the screen. You can make it so that you can see me by choosing speaker view. There's some ways to kind of personalize or individualize your experience. I do want to thank Dementia Alliance for their commitment to engaging in education and empowering. So powerful in an environment where we're not feeling very engaged, and we're maybe not feeling very empowered, to have this place where we can come and be with people who get it. We have many other things that are available, things like support groups and options like that you might want to reach out and kind of explore other ways to stay connected with this amazing organization. And I can talk about them that way because I contract and consult with them, but I'm not an employee. So I'm not bragging on myself when I brag on them, but I brag on them all the time. So let's go ahead and start talking about this issue about bathing. And I said that there could be as many as 25 different, maybe some of you are working with more than one person, but every situation is different. And in this environment where I'm just going to ask, and I can kind of scan over, one of the things we didn't talk about is your ability to kind of have a response. And you can kind of choose a reaction sometimes, but probably not in this view. So I'm going to stop sharing and just ask you to choose a reaction down at the bottom. Show me if you're feeling like you have had some loss of control over the past 6 or 7 months. Life, and you can do that with your thumbs if I see you, or you can do that with a reaction. You can put your thumbs up if you want to, or you can say, you know, yeah, you're connecting with me, I get that. Or you can say, preach it, sister, you know, you've got it. We're feeling some loss of control. We're feeling things are moving beyond, and to pedal, so that, like, don't, or I think it's, I always look at it, it looks like pedal, but I think it's P Child, but her thumb is all the way up here, like, don't miss me, I'm feeling it. And with issues of dementia and issues of bathing, we have a lot of challenges with control. So we think about what can we control in each of these areas, things about the person living with dementia, things that we can know about them, things about our approach, and things about the environment. So we're not powerless, and we're going to move into what some of those things might be. So part of the challenge with bathing, I think, is we tend to start too late. So we tend to start when we're in the bathroom and things are not going well. And now I've got to fix it. I'm going to say back up, back up, back up, and back up into some prep work. And some of the prep work that we back up into is really thinking about what is this person's bathing routine? Because some of you take showers, some of you take tub baths, some of you are finding that, when you're not going anywhere and doing anything, you may just, my grandmama used to say, hit the high spots. And that may be good enough for some days. So what is this person's routine? Did they used to take a shower in the morning or a tub bath at night? Because those are completely different sensory experiences. So we may be looking at that, how mom or my partner or the person I'm working with in a care facility, how they bathed before they got to this point in their life. But we might actually need to think before that. So how did this person get clean when they were a little kid? How did this person get clean when they were a teenager, when they were a young adult? Because this idea of showering daily, of immersing, of having an immersion experience daily, either shower or tub bath, is pretty new. I mean, that's been within the last, pretty much since the 60s, that became a real process. So that's not been most people's lifetime that we're dealing with dementia. That's been a kind of a newish kind of thing. And then how do you set up the environment? Because if you walk into, I'm going to encourage you, go to the place where you're having the challenging bathing experience and take some video or take some photographs. Don't do it right now. Wait till we get finished with the call. I'm not giving you a break. Wait till we get finished the call. But go to that space and take some photographs or some video. And the reason I ask you to do that is our amazing, do this with me, kind of massage your beautiful brain. Do it with me. It's not actually your brain. It's actually your head. But just kind of massage your beautiful head and tell it it's doing a good job and you really appreciate how hard it's working. Our brains sort stuff and filter stuff. And so when I walk into my shower, when I walk into my bathroom, I don't notice all of the stuff on the counters or all of the stuff around the side of the bathtub, because it's my stuff and I put it there and I just filter it. In someone else's bathroom, you better believe I notice all that stuff. I noticed, when I went over to Lisa's house once, I noticed, what kind of smelly good stuff does she have in her shower? What's on her vanity in her bathroom? What's there? We don't filter because it's new. So really think about, when you walk into this room, what kind of stuff do you see? Does it look like my bathroom, or does it look like an unfamiliar place? So really think about that. What is the temperature like? Part of the aging process is the fatty pads migrate away from the extremities and into the trunk. And so older people don't have as much fatty protection of their hands and their feet, their lower extremities and their arms, so they feel cold faster. So is it warm enough? And what is the sense of privacy? So privacy might not just be the door is closed. Privacy might be the door is closed, but the TV is on in the bedroom. So it sounds like there are people out there talking, and I'm not sure if those people are going to come in or not. So I don't know about y'all, but I don't feel comfortable taking my clothes off when people are out there talking. So really being aware of some of those kinds of prep work things. And then the next piece is, how do we make our ask or our approach? So if I go up to someone and I say, Lisa, do you want to take a bath? Lisa's very likely she doesn't. And so what I did is I just gave Lisa a choice. And I said, Lisa, do you want to, yes or no? And Lisa chose no. So now I have got to try to change Lisa's mind. So I am already starting in a bad situation. I am already starting in a bad situation. So many of you have had people reaching out to you in the past few weeks wanting to change your mind about something that might be happening in November. Many of you have had people reaching out to you on Facebook trying to change your mind about something that's happening in November. And the more people try to change your mind, the more convinced you get that you were right to begin with. So if now Lisa's told me no, she doesn't want to take a bath, and now I'm trying to change her mind, what starts to happen is I'm pushing against her, and it just gets more and worse and worse and worse. And she gets more and more and more determined not to, the more and more and more I try to change her mind. It's very similar to if I say to Lisa, Lisa, would you rather have ice cream or hot tea? You want the ice cream? Here's your tea. And y'all are going, that was mean. How dare you offer her ice cream and then give her tea? We do that to people with dementia all the time. We offer them one thing, then we say, I didn't really mean that. You can't really have that. Here's the thing that's good for you. So I say, do you want to take a shower? And my person says no. And I say, well, you're going to anyway because it's good for you. Now, none of that makes me want to change my mind. None of that makes me want to be with the person who's trying to help me. So we're going to think about taking our agenda. So hold your hand up like this. This is my agenda. This is what I want to accomplish. And I'm going to move it from between the two of us. So instead of having she's got to get a bath because we're going to the doctor's, I'm going to move it over here. So it's not between us. So now I can see Lisa. I can be with Lisa. So I want to put my agenda to the side because I want to build the connection. So I want to say, Lisa, good morning, and make that connection. That color looks so pretty on you. And now she's not disliking me. So now we're comfortable. We've got some connection. We've got some trust. And so I don't walk in with my agenda. I make sure that she likes me, because if she likes me, she's much more likely to go with me and to follow the next kinds of pieces. So then I go into, after she feels connected with me, after she feels like she trusts me, then I go into the ask. Now, couple of different things I can try here. I'm still not going to say, do you want to take a shower? Because I'm still then doing that. Yes or no. I don't use yes, no questions, because unless I can take no for an answer, or unless I can take yes for an answer, I'm only going to ask a yes, no question if I'm okay with either answer. So I might try choices. So I might ask a question like, Lisa, would you rather have a shower or a tub bath?
Shower.
You'd be more comfortable with a shower. Okay, let's go. And so do I care if she takes a shower or a tub bath? I don't care. I want her to get clean. Either one of those can give her clean. So I might say, would you rather use vanilla shower gel, or if I've got the shower tub in the chair, she can't get in and out of the tub, taking a bath is not an option, then I might say, would you rather have the vanilla shower gel or the citrus? I don't care. I've got them both there. I can use either one. So I'm only going to offer her choices that I don't care which one she chooses. Then another approach is to start it one step at a time. So what I might say is, Lisa, let's go look in the mirror. Your hair looks so pretty today. Let's go look in the mirror at it. So then I get her in the bathroom. And once I get her in the bathroom, I then make some more connections. You know, oh, your hair, I love that length on you. That looks really pretty. So we get comfortable. She trusts me. And then I say, you know, while we're in here, let's go ahead and get cleaned up. So I work into it little bit by little bit. So I'm not pushing as much as I'm inviting. So that's a piece to kind of think about. Once we're actually thinking about bathing options, is it in the bathroom or somewhere else? Because sometimes the bathroom has become so complicated. There have been so many challenges. There have been so many scary things happening. There have been so many arguments. The tension just gets there that sometimes the bathroom just brings this emotional response of not happening, not doing it. So maybe the bathroom has developed this emotional memory of this is a scary place. This is not a place where I feel safe. It's not a place where I want to be with you. If every time we go in that bathroom, there's a conflict, I'm not going to be able to relax and do well there because it already feels tense and scary. So is it in the bathroom or is it somewhere else? Now, I'm not saying, go pay for one of those showers that you can put in your backyard. I'm not saying that. It's just, is it really a bath or a shower, or is it just sponging off? And if it's just sponging off, we might can do that standing at the kitchen sink. How terrible is that? But the goal of bathing is to get clean, not to get naked. The goal of bathing is to get clean, not to get naked. And so if I can get that person standing at the kitchen sink and they're comfortable and they're cooperative, and lots of people have done that, it's happening all over the world, that people are standing in their kitchen at their kitchen sink, or standing at the dining room table or standing at the bathroom or in their bedroom with a bowl of water, a bowl of water on a table, getting clean, and it counts. It's not like you get extra green stamps if you get the person naked in the shower or in the tub. So so is it the bath, is it the shower, or is it just hitting the high spots and sponging off? The next option piece is how often it's really necessary. So, starting in the 50s, 60s, this bathing every night thing kind of gained momentum. Americans are clean. It's easier because the water's warm. We've got these nice bathrooms. But that's not always what happened historically. And it's also not always what's healthy or necessary. We talked a little bit about aging and fat deposits. Aging skin is really different. And so the fats that kind of protect the skin, and keep it connected and keep it intact, aren't there anymore in those fat pads. The skin itself dries out. And so dry skin is more likely to get torn or to get bruised or to kind of have little lesions in it than moist skin. So some of the bathing experiences, washing off some of those natural oils that are on the skin, some of the fatty that is leaving. And so bathing may not be healthy for people, meaning getting everything cleaned every day. Yes, there are parts of the body that do need to be cleaned, and genitalia need to be cleaned, underarms need to be cleaned, underneath skin folds, so things like underneath breast, or if they're abdominal folds, those things need to be cleaned. Hands probably need to be cleaned more than we clean them. Faces need to be cleaned, but washing somebody's back, maybe we don't need to do that every day. Washing somebody's legs and thighs, maybe that's not good for their skin. Their arms, something we need to do every day. So how often is a bath healthy? How often is it necessary? That's going to really depend. If it's North Carolina, it's 90 degrees, the person is outside a lot, they probably need to wash daily. But if the person's staying inside most of the time at room temperature, because that's where we're all living now, is inside and room temperature, maybe we don't need to have as often as we culturally kind of think about it being. So then once we're in the shower or in the tub, how do we do it? Well, it's going to depend on what the person can do for them or him or herself. Sometimes once people are in the shower, or the tub, or standing at the sink or a bowl, it's really the prosthesis approach. And the prosthesis approach means doing with the person the things that they can't do for themselves. So if what the person can't do is their back, then I'm going to do their back. But if they can do their face and their arms, that's good enough for me. If the person needs help, What we tend to do is do that sequencing the way we do it for ourselves. So for me, for most of y'all, I'm thinking, put in the, I'm gonna unshare for a minute. So put in the chat, when you get in the shower, what's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you wash when you get in the shower? We're just going to do a little poll here without doing a poll. So people are saying hair, face, hair, shoulders and arms for somebody, face. So lots of faces, lots of hairs, lots of faces, lots of hairs, lots of faces, lots of hairs. And that's because we tend to go from the cleanest to the part where there's more likely to be stuff we don't want to spread all over the place. So let me just check back in because I missed a couple. I was saying lots of faces and hairs, lots and lots and lots of faces and hairs and an arm and a shoulder, but lots of faces and hairs. So you get in the shower, you wash clean-ish, and then you go to places that you don't want to spread all over the place. For a lot of us, we go in the shower, we wash our hair first. I don't wash my hair every day, but if it's a hair washing day, I wash it first and I wash my hair. I put some conditioner on, let the conditioner set while I'm doing it. So I have my own routine and my pattern. If the person's following their own routine and their pattern, support them in following their own routine and their pattern. If they're not doing that, then let's try something different. So here's the problem with washing face and hair first. How many of you like water in your face that you don't control? Show me thumbs up. I'm expecting to see a whole bunch of thumbs going up. I love to get splashed in the face with water. That's one of my favorite things. Oh, okay, so not only is she not doing a thumbs up, she's actually going, it's nasty. I don't like it. I don't want it. Is that, so some people are going, yeah, thumbs up to the thumbs down for me. And I see some other people thumbs down. We don't like, Lisa's doing a thumbs down. We don't like water in our faces. Most of us don't. And even if it's warm, having it splashed, if I'm doing it in my face because I'm cleansing, maybe I'm okay with that, but I certainly don't want it coming out of nowhere. The first thing that happens when you're at the pool and somebody splashes water in your face is you go, and pull back. So when we get in the shower, if the first thing, now y'all are going to laugh, and Lisa already laughed and said, what is that thing? And this is my partner. So let me show you my partner. This is my partner. And if you have young children, you may recognize my partner because this is a Pokemon named Chimchar. It's a fire Pokemon. So if I've got my person in the shower or in the tub, as soon as I go to wash my person's face, what starts to happen? Exactly what happens with you when you get splashed in the pool. So I start to wash my person's face, and now all of that that effort I put into making that relationship and making you feel you trust me and feel comfortable, what happens to all of that? I just crashed it all down because now I put water in your face and now you're going, and people living with dementia do that as well. They don't like water in their face. When my hair gets wet, I get cold because now I've got water kind of dripping into my face, or I've got water dripping down my back. So now I've got water in my face and I'm cold and I don't like what's going on. I don't like it. So it's uncomfortable. So instead, what I'm going to do is not start with, the other piece is, how many opportunities do I have during a day to wash somebody's hands, to help somebody wash their face, to help somebody wash off their arms? How many opportunities do I have during a day to do that? I can do that pretty much any time. So I don't want to waste the time I have in the shower washing things that I can wash any day, all day. So when I've got somebody in the shower, I want to wash something that's important. You know, something that I don't get to all the time. But I also don't want to go straight for here, right? Because if I go straight for there, I'm going to get this. And that's not very helpful either. So if you don't have vision, what I did was go for the genitalia area, and that tends to get you a really scary kind of reaction and response. So what I'm going to wash is part of the body that the person might enjoy getting clean, and part of the body that I might not get access to all of the time, and part of the body that doesn't feel scary. And so what I might start out doing is washing my person's shoulders and their back, because that tends to feel, and if you can't really tell because it's behind, but I'm washing in circles, because circles tend to feel really comforting more than scrubbing like this. So I'm washing in circles, and I'm washing in a way that's pretty predictable. So I'm washing in circles. The other thing I'm going to do is, this is moving. So I want one thing that's still and the other thing to be moving. So I'm going to put my hand on my person's shoulder. So I'm moving my left hand while my right hand is still. And so that way my person knows I'm still here. They're not 18 people coming and going. So I'm washing here, and then I might change to here, and now I might wash under my person's neck and move down into the chest, down into the other arm area. So I'm not pinching my person's ear, actually. I'm actually pinching this person's ear to keep their head up. So that's not part of the approach, is to pinch a person's ear. Don't do that. So somebody will go back and watch and say, ooh, that must be an acupressure point. So if you pinch their ear, they'll let you help them with their bath. That's not true. So the idea that we're working from things that are more comfortable to things that are less comfortable. We're prioritizing things that aren't scary, but also don't get a lot of attention. And then we move into those pieces that are important but more vulnerable. So when we talk about nerve endings and talk about parts of the body that are really sensitive, it's more than just an issue of modesty, why people don't like us cleaning their genitalia. There are a lot of nerve endings there. So there are a lot of nerve endings in your fingers. There are a lot of nerve endings in your feet. There are a lot of nerve endings in your mouth and lips and tongues. There are a lot of nerve endings in your genitalia. So because there are a lot of nerve endings, being there can often create some distress. So I'm going to be moving, keeping one hand still, one hand moving, and I'm moving in a slow, circular kind of pattern. So let's go back to the PowerPoint and see what we left. And we've got most of that. And I'm going to finish up with the person's hair, because once I get the hair wet, it's dripping, I get the hair clean, and then I put a turban on, or some kind of a towel on. I like the turbans because they tend to be pretty stretchy and kind of stay on pretty well, and they don't fall off as much. And then I'm finished with the shower. Then it's about getting dry and getting clean and getting warm, getting dry and warm, and we move on. So if we're not doing it, and I use the same process in the tub. In the tub, I use the same kind of directions, moving from something that we can't get to all the time but is comfortable to parts that are more important to get clean in that situation. And again, finishing up with the hair. So in the sink, uncover, wash, cover, repeat. Uncover, wash, cover, repeat. Uncover, wash, cover, repeat. And the reason is, if I'm standing there and I don't have part covered, I might either feel cold or I feel cold, meaning I feel vulnerable. So I might help the person uncover their top. We get the top cleaned up. We cover the top. Then we move to the bottom, get the bottom part clean, and then we move. And that actually should be that feel good, not feet good. So we cover the parts, focus on the parts that feel good, then move to the parts, there should be a comma there too, but Lisa will get that later. And then move to the parts that aren't usually available. So one thing there's not a law that says you can only use a shower chair in the shower. You can use a shower chair other places. And I like them because it gives me access to some areas I don't have access to when somebody is sitting on something that's got a seat. The challenge is most of the time when y'all sit on a chair with a hole in it, there's a certain action that follows, right? When you sit on a chair with a hole in it, you tend to let go of something. And so if you're using a shower chair as a shower chair, be aware that you might want to have stuff underneath it, so you can be prepared for it to function as a toilet. So some of them have the buckets that you can slide in and out because they're also used as toilets. So you might want to have that bucket in and then slide it out. But I'm still going to have a towel, some padding down there in case it does get used as a toilet. And if it gets used as a toilet, you've got that done as well. Your things wash. So I might not use it on carpet. If I use it on carpet, I might have something waterproof down and then the shower chair and then, but those are just things I've learned in my career that I'm passing on to you so you don't have to learn. The last kind of technique, strategy, approach we're going to work on, and we probably could do a whole day on this, is a way of helping called hand under hand. And so that is a way of helping my person feel like he's part of what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by setting myself up all right or all left. So if my person is right-handed, I'm going to use my right hand, my person's right hand on their right side. If my person is left-handed, I'm going to use their left hand, my left hand, their left side. I'm going to shake and then shift into a butterfly and then fold my hands over. So now I'm in an arm wrestling handshake, but because I let his hand be on top, it moves into this helping handshake. Then I am going to hold the tool in my hand. So I've got the washcloth in my hand, but now I'm taking his hand up with me to his face. One hand isn't moving, again, not pinching the ear. I'm just doing that to keep his head there. One hand on his shoulder, the other hand is moving with his hand. And then I can go into here and into here under his arms, kind of move that way. So that's something to practice. I encourage you, and we're going to talk about this more on the session on brushing teeth and on the session on assisting with eating. But I practice it with somebody else before you try practicing it with the person living with dementia, because it's a motor skill, and motor skills really get better with practice. So do some practice before you really try it with the person with dementia. Some general tips is, one of the things we tend to think is, I've got her in the tub, I've got to get it all done, and I've got to get it all done today. And maybe not. Maybe if you get a couple of things clean, you're better off than you started. So that idea that I've got to get from the top to the bottom, or the bottom to the top, or the outside to the inside, not always. If you don't get the hair done, you can do the hair in a different way. If you just get the top half done, yay, you made some progress. We tend to have a very strong social value for cleanliness that is probably a little bit overrated, truthfully. Now, people shouldn't have body odor. People shouldn't have the kinds of things that happen when you don't stay clean, like yeast and folds and stuff like that. uncomfortable kinds of experiences with genitalia, urinary tract infections, skin breakdown if it gets really bad. People don't need that, but just everyday kind of grit and grime and dirt. If you keep your hands and your face clean, you've dealt with most of that environmental kind of stuff. So people don't die from being dirty, but people with dementia do die from not being in a relationship. And I think that's one of the things we've really dealt with this COVID issue is isolation is really a safety issue. Isolation is a safety issue. And so the relationship being broken, whether it's because of COVID or whether it's being broken because of the conflict that comes through, you've got to get cleaned up and you've got to get cleaned up this way and it's got to happen this often and it's got to be this. That's not worth it. The relationship is really the most important piece of health and of safety and of being clean. So that's, I'm going to pause for a minute. I've got 112 other things I can talk about, but I'm going to stop for a moment and see if there are any questions, if there's something you want to clarify, or if you've got a specific situation that you'd like to discuss. So I'm going to pause for just a minute and see if there are any questions or comments. So you can type your questions in the chat. Lisa is Lisa's comment direction. Because my guess is you're here for a reason. And my guess is you're here not because everything is going really well. So I don't know if people are, they might be kind of long to put them in the chat. But it looks like Lisa came up with something. So I'm going to go back and do Lisa's last and do, I'm sorry, Lisa, do you mind if I do yours last? I think you were just kind of getting started. For showering on the shower chair, aids to keep from slipping from it. Okay, so one of the things that happens with the shower chair is people sometimes ooze out of it or slip out of it. And so I'm looking to see if that's kind of what you're talking about, is kind of that oozing kind of out of it. So a couple of things that you can do is, one is if you put the person's feet on something, then sometimes they don't tend to ooze out. So if you put something under their feet, so their knees are above, so the knee joint is above the hip joint, then you don't tend to slide out quite as much. So that's one thing to try. The other thing I had a family do is there's a substance called Dicem, and it's used by a lot of occupational therapists, and you can buy it online in a lot of different ways. But it's like a plastic kind of thing, but it's got some texture to it, so you don't tend to, it's not a bumpy, but it's also not smooth, so it tends to not stick to people's skin, but it tends to kind of hold things in place, and that can be skin as well. So some people I've had have bought sheets of Dicem and kind of covered the shower seat part with that so people don't kind of ooze out. So that's one thing to try. Let me go back up to the next one. Okay, so being in the shower, either in clothing that can be wet or without clothing. Yeah, at a certain point, being in the shower can be really helpful. And being in a bathing suit or being in a slip is another one that works pretty well. or being in something that is, I mean, you're not going to want to get in with jeans because jeans are just horrible and uncomfortable when they get wet. But yeah, being in the shower can be really helpful for people. If the person's sitting on the shower chair, sometimes I can stand outside of the shower and do most of what I need to do. Sometimes it is more helpful to be in the shower. If you're in the shower, I'm going to encourage you to really make sure you've got something that's non-slip on the floor. So a shower, a bath mat, not a bath mat, but a shower mat, something that's a really intentionally very low slide, low slip surface can be really helpful for that. But yeah, being in the shower can really work for people. And so someone says bathing is all right for now, but trying to get more ahead of it. And so one of the things you can do is, if it's going okay right now, is actually figure out why it's going okay right now. So actually figuring out what is that person's routine. So we all, like I said, I wash my hair first and then I put on the conditioner and let the conditioner sit. How does do they wash their dominant side first or their non-dominant side first? Start to notice what that person's patterns are, what the pieces are. If is it working well because of the time of day that you're doing it? Is it working well because you've got music going on in the background? Because sometimes people are doing things and they're not really aware of what's making the situation work. So when you really notice those things that are working, you can then share them with others, or you can use them in the future. So really noticing what are those things. One of the things for men is, do they shower? Do they shave in the shower, or do they shave at the sink? Because if someone's used to shaving in the shower, they get in the shower and they don't shave, it just doesn't, you're not following the rules, it doesn't feel right. So really figuring out those things that are why it's going well. So there's a comment, the problem is getting started, like getting undressed and actually in the shower. So for that, we maybe should do another one of these on dressing and undressing. For that, I'm gonna say, is it because of the clothing, or is it because of the being naked? Is it because of stepping into the shower, or is it because of stepping into the shower? If it's a step in, can feel like you're stepping into nothing. So sometimes what I've done is used a colored mat, and this can be the same for the tub as well. I've sometimes used a colored mat. So white seems to be the absence of something. And so when I step on something white, it feels like I'm stepping into snow or onto a cloud. I don't really trust that surface. So if I have the person stepping onto something that's got color, it feels safer. If it's so Lisa, you unmute. Were you going to add something to that question?
No, I would just say that something black also could be like stepping into a hole. So you don't want light or black. You want a
Yeah.
color.
So if you've got a black tub, or if you put down a black mat, so maybe you try to put down something that's got some color, not black. Good comment. So thinking about, I've given many people showers in slips or underwear. And if the issue really is, I don't want to take my underwear off, I don't want to be naked, I can get a cooperative person wearing a slip a lot cleaner than I can get somebody who is uncomfortable, embarrassed, who's naked. And the same thing with underwear, whether they're boxers or whether they're briefs, that can really be okay. So getting the person undressed, is it the clothes or is it getting in? And we can maybe send you to Dementia Alliance for some more specifics for that as well. Long fingernails when I can't get near him to do it. So that was a private one. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have read that one. So if you do the question to me privately, reach out to Dementia Alliance or put it in the everybody chat and see if we can set up a time to kind of talk. Agrees to.
Melanie, there is a question about shower head. Do you suggest a regular shower head not aimed at the person, or a handheld shower head?
Yeah, my answer is going to be both. So what I really like are the shower heads that you can attach to the 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 ones you can move around, but that you can also attach. So some of them have like you can attach them to, but you can also use them as a handheld. I really, for a lot of people with the shower, the issue is really the water coming down on them is really overwhelming. It's too much of a sensory experience. You get the person in the shower, the water is always cold, even if you warm it up ahead of time. When you first start it, it's going to be cooler. And so having that shower head down here, I can turn the water on, I can get it warm, and then I can use it closer to my person. The water's not coming on the person and scaring them. So yeah, I like the shower heads that you can use handheld, but also use mounted. Because some people are more used to that mounted, and if it's mounted, then you've got both hands you can use.
That's
But
great.
some people really, that water coming on them is really scary. So I'll use that handheld for washing hair, for washing bodies, for a lot of those kinds of things.
How
Um,
about no rinse wipes? Jean asks, is it okay to use no rinse wipes to wash occasionally?
I think those are wonderful for more than just occasionally. You know, there's those are, who do we use no wipes on, rinse wipe? Where did they develop? Well, they were kind of developed for use in long-term care. So they were developed for use with people with fragile skin. And so that's who they're meant for in a lot of ways. And so I would say more than just once in a while. I think those are fine. And there's no reason not to use them if that works better for your person. You know, there's no 11th commandment that says thou shalt be dunked or sprinkled. You know, so people need to be clean, but they don't necessarily have to be in the shower or the tub. And Lisa, are you going to give me another question, or you want me to look, or you're kind of
Um,
scanning?
I think that was most of our questions. Anybody else have a question they want to ask? They want to type in the chat? Beth Levine shared anti-slip shelving material might work, like you said, with the Dyson, that you could
Yeah,
try that
yeah,
anti-slip material
that's
as well.
a good thought or suggestion. And someone again put privately in the chat a question that I can't answer if it's to me specifically because it's not private. So if you want me to answer that question out loud, don't send it to me privately because I can't do that. Send it to the whole group, or get in touch with Lisa and see if she can help you with that one, or if we can solve it in a different way.
Um, Linda asked if you could go ahead and answer the question she had about the nails that she privately sent to you.
Okay, all right, thank you. I just wanted to be kind of careful about that because she sent it private. So the idea of how do you deal with long fingernails? You know, that feels really awkward, and sometimes the thing about the clipper is sometimes the clippers kind of it has a clippy sound. It has a jumpy kind of clippy kind of scary kind of sound. So some people have done better with manicure scissors, you know, instead of clippers. The other thing that can be really helpful is I will, if they're fingernails or toenails, I've sometimes done soaks. And so the person's soaking, and then I'm doing hand massage, and I'm soaking and doing hand massage. And then I can kind of with the nail scissors kind of deal with those a little bit in that situation. So I can kind of, because once the nails are really soft, you don't get that snappy feeling, which a lot of times is what's really scary about the nails. So do a little bit of soaking, do some massage, and then see if you can move into kind of clipping some of those nails like that. And if that doesn't work, reach out to Lisa and we'll see if we can come up with some other strategies. Sometimes people do better if it's in a, you know, going to get a manicure kind of thing, although that's going to be more for the generations to follow. Not as many people in their 70s, 80s, 90s did a lot of manicures as people do today, but that time is coming. So
Melanie, we are almost out of time. If anybody else wants to type a question in, I think we could do one more question, but I did put in my contact information, and everyone has my email address from the link that you received for this. So if anybody wants to ask Melanie any more questions, I know when you get off the webinar, it's when you think of everything you should have asked. So please feel free to email me, and I'll pass those along to Melanie. And if necessary, we can answer them in our next course. Please remember that the next webinar will be October 7th, and we're going to talk about eating. We'll stay on here for just a little while if anybody wants to ask anything else in the chat. But we thank you, Melanie, so much for your time and sharing all your tips and your education with us.
It was so wonderful to be with you. And what I'll kind of leave you with is it's the relationship, and it's thinking about people as individuals, thinking about what you can know about the person, what you can change about your approach, and how you can adapt the environment to make it something that brings us closer and doesn't push us away. So I want to thank everybody add my thanks to Lisa's, and again, big appreciation to Dementia Alliance for sponsoring this. It truly is the best deal in town. So reach out to your friends and family, have other people join us for next time, and thank you for being part of it.
Thank you. And we will send out the recording of this to everyone. It might not be until tomorrow that you get it, but we will send you the recording so you can watch this again and get the information. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful day.